Search Talk Live with search engine optimization and marketing expert Robert O'Haver, powered by the Robert Palmer family of companies.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of Search Talk Live. I'm your host, Robert O'Haver, and welcome to another great episode of Search Talk Live. We have a great guest today. We're going to talk some good stuff we haven't even talked about yet, which is it's hard to believe because we were like, 75 episodes now, which is quite crazy. But those of you tuning in for the first time, Search Talk Live is a digital marketing podcast. Here we talk about everything to do with digital marketing. It'd be SEO, content marketing, social media, really, you name it. It can be conversion optimization. We try to cover everything and give a flavor for everyone that in the industry to kind of help you do better at your job or what you do. But if you haven't yet, go to Search Talk Live. You can sign up for our newsletter there, or you can go as Spreaker and sign up there, and you'll get a notification every time a show starts or what's coming up in the next weeks. And also on the homepage of searchtalklive.com, you can get the up and coming guests that are going to be on the show. Also, my co-host, Matt Weber. Matt, how's it going?
Hey, Robert, I'm doing fantastic. I see you're wearing a Superman hat today. Very appropriate for your role in this community.
Oh, thank you. Tell people a little bit about yourself.
I'm the president of Roar Internet Marketing in Altamont Springs here outside of Orlando. And we just launched an exciting new product. It's called Smilelytics.com, SMYLYTICS. And we transfer your website analytics data into iconic photographs. So,
cool.
So it's interesting to understand. Smilelytics.com.
Yeah, we'll have to check that one out. Can you spell it out just for the listeners?
Yeah, it's SMYLELYTICS. Smilelytics.
Gotcha. And give us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, I've been in digital marketing now for 10 years. Prior to that, grew up in traditional advertising for a long time, writing television commercials, promotion pieces, doing audience development, and doing a lot of direct mail, direct response. So with this company, Roar Internet Marketing, we really focused on using those direct response principles to get a higher conversion rate. So we're very much into conversion optimization.
Very nice. And you have a story I'd like you to share with our listeners about someone that came into your office a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, this really shows you the reach of Search Talk Live.
Yeah.
So a guy comes into our office. We had a position open, and he says, hey, I'd like to leave my resume for the position. I didn't get a chance to talk to him when he came in. And then I got his resume, and he wasn't a great fit, but I was so impressed when he came in. He was well-dressed. I called him in for an interview, and during the interview, I said, how did you hear about us? How did you know we had a job open? He said, well, I was listening to a podcast called Search Talk Live, and I heard the episode, and I got so much out of the episode, I figured I had to come and see if I could work for you.
Wow.
That's almost awesome. His words exactly.
Brings tears to my eyes. No. Today, guys, let's get on with the show. Our guest today, we're going to talk about automation beyond content generation. Our guest today is Jeff Beale of MrMarketology. Jeff, how's it going?
It's going great. How y'all guys doing?
Good, man. Glad to have you on. We've got a lot to talk about and cover.
Great. Thanks for having me on this show. I'm excited.
Yeah. So people that haven't heard of you, let's get a little bit of your background, what you do, and where you're at now.
Okay. Well, name, what do they say now? These young kids say government name is Jeff Beale. Business name, MrMarketology.
Yeah.
And what I do is I help companies to optimize and automate their marketing. So I come in a lot of times as a consultant, help them actually identify and figure out their real audience and the real audience needs. And then how do they develop a strategy and optimize that strategy and automate a lot of the logistics involved in implementing that strategy. So that's, in a nutshell, what I do. Done a lot of different things, a lot of different hats, from web design to SEO to email to everything. I mean, really, wherever I was needed. So it helped me see a lot of different angles, and putting all that together helps it be a good fit. So that's, in a nutshell, I guess, what I do.
And your website is what?
MrMarketology.com.
Okay. That's pretty easy to remember.
Yeah, great name.
Yeah, it is. All right,
Thank
so
you.
let's get down to it. Now, there's many things that you can automate. I mean, as far as nurturing leads, customers, clients, there's just a million different things. Where would you like to start?
Well, let's start with automation, I guess, in understanding what it is and understanding some of the hangups with it. So automation basically is a way to systematize the process in regards to communicating or taking a certain action with a certain target. So that's automation. But the problem that a lot of companies have is they don't know how to approach automation correctly. They want to automate a lot of messages, and then it seems canned, so people know it's not them. They want to take a lot of shortcuts, and those shortcuts don't look at all the factors involved, so they miss steps, and then they start to offend their target audience. A lot of times they don't really know their audience. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
They don't really know their audience, so they don't know what triggers their audience to take certain action. So they just send out a bunch of blasts, whether email, social media posts, or whatever be the case, and expect return that never comes because they've never really figured out why a person wants to interact with them.
You know,
and so that's really one of the challenges.
I think we'll end up today talking about strategy and the tool.
Yeah.
We've got folks listening that got the strategy down,
Right.
but they don't have the tool. And they've got the tool. They paid a lot of money for a tool, but they don't have the strategy.
Or I know how to use it.
Yeah, they don't know how to use it. So maybe we should start helping them. Let's talk a little bit about the tools. Jeff, can you kind of give us a buyer's guide a little bit? What do you look for in a marketing automation tool?
Well, it's different for everybody, and I know everybody hates to hear that. Oh, Lord, it's different for everybody. What's one good tool for everybody? Well, understanding if you have a strategy, what tools fit within that strategy. And things you should look for are not as much features. A lot of people look at the feature list, and they say, oh, it can do this, it can do that. But really, you should look at what are those triggers, and can this solution provide an answer for whatever that particular action would be? So if it's social, can they not only just send social posts out automated, but can they actually track what's being sent? And can they give a series of messages based on certain actions? If they can, and you need that, then that will work for you. But if they just send out, scheduled posts, that's not going to work for you because you're just sending out a message to everybody. So the features are important, but you don't hang your hat on the features. You hang your hat on, I know what my customer is looking for. Can this particular solution provide the actual remedy for that particular need? And which solution can provide the most remedies for the most needs?
So it sounds like you're suggesting figure out the workflow first.
Exactly.
So can you give us a couple of hints on what's the secret to a good workflow? When you look at ones that either you've done or other people have done, what do you see that the good ones include and the bad ones don't include?
One of the things that a good workflow includes is those triggers, those different, they have a clear path for what a perfect conversion would look like. So, of course, everybody's different. So you can't make it work for everybody. But I would say a grouping of different personas and the paths that a perfect path would look like. And you put your workflow together based on that. So, if they come in through a landing page, but the landing page sends them a series of emails, which, you have to do some multivariate testing, but which email seems to convert best? From that email, do they take another action? Do they go to your website? If they go to your website, is it better to personalize that particular section of the website? If they go to your shopping cart, what's making them abandon the cart? Is it something as simple as, I found in one case, it was something as simple as the phone number the way that the form validation worked, you had to put the phone number in exactly a certain way, or it would always kick back an error. Mm-hmm. People would do that two or three times and would say, forget it, and wouldn't purchase. So, you find out those things, and even if they purchase, what can make them an evangelist or a returning customer? Is it a thank you message? A lot of places you sign up, you buy something, you don't hear from them again, right? No thank you message or a series of thank you messages. So you find out what that perfect path would be for each persona, because you may have several, and most companies do. And then from that workflow, you then reverse engineer it to say what triggers that action. If they follow you on Twitter, can you trigger an action by saying not only just thank you? I get these all the time. I love them. Thank you for following me on Twitter. And it's automated. So you just disregard it. You don't even read the rest of it. Yeah. Can you send a message that then takes them down another path? We'll use a retailer. Instead of saying thank you for following us on Twitter, you would come back to them and say, we have a sale going on today, or we have some very interesting information, depending on if you're a product or services, mm-hmm. regarding whatever their particular interest may be, that you provide, and they know that you provide, which then may send them back to sign up for your newsletter. And if they sign up for your newsletter, or they come to your site, or they sign up for an email, now you've scored them as more qualified, and they go down a different path, and you may then push them to do something else. And as they keep going down, now they are more qualified. And by the time they're ready to purchase, if you have a sales team, or if you have a sales message that goes out, it's timely. Yeah. And I've seen some do it very well. I think the best that's worked with me has been probably Groupon or BMW. Mm-hmm. Groupon or BMW. Groupon's great. Let me give you the example Groupon did. I was speaking at a conference in Chicago, and at the time I purchased a hotel, or secured a hotel room, flight, so forth. And I went on Groupon to see, what hotels were affordable and so forth, and looked in, what's to do, where to eat, who has coupons, so forth and so on. Mm-hmm. So I did not secure things through Groupon, but I had noticed that I'd been looking. So I think I got one thing. It was one of the deep dish pizza coupons or something. All of a sudden, Groupon started to come back to me with different offers, saying, well, you might be interested in this while you're in town. This event's going on during this time, this date, because it knew what time I was going because of that. And then all of a sudden, when I get to Chicago, every time I was going by different places that Groupon had some sort of offer, it would notify my phone.
Wow.
Wow, no kidding. I haven't experienced that.
Y'all are on it. Yeah, y'all are on it. I mean, BMW does the same thing. Whenever I drive past the BMW dealership close to me, I'll get a notification on my phone that I may want to bring my BMW in for this, or they're having this sale, or they're having some sort of incentive event going on. But it usually doesn't happen until I'm driving down the street and I pass that BMW dealership.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'll get a message out the blue.
Yeah, so that's a lot of automation there. Now, one thing I think is truly important as well is if in some companies, like let's say that do it really well, Fossil Watches, Amazon, really good at targeting brands and products. If I go to Amazon, I look at a product and I don't purchase it, less than 24 hours, I get an email with the product and, hey, if there's an offer for it or whatever, those kind of personal type of messages with your interests, I think, really grab a lot of your attention.
Yes, they definitely do.
Hey, Jeff, let's talk a little bit about the marketing automation tool once again. How can a business know if they're over contacting or over communicating?
Pretty much you would call them waterfalls. I mean, when you start seeing a mass amount falling off or a mass amount unsubscribing, not taking action, clicking links, things of that nature, you'll start to dissect why.
Yeah.
And one of the things may be, if you notice you sent 3 messages and everyone was engaged with the 3 messages, but then the 4th message, nobody hardly is engaged. And then you start testing different messaging and nobody seems to respond. You start to know, okay, I've been reaching out a little bit too much. That's the easy way to find out if you've been messaging too much. I've been fortunate to have accountability partners. I've been fortunate to have people contact me and say, hey, you've been contacting me a lot. What's going on? But the thing really, I would say you never contact somebody too much if you have something valuable to say.
Sure.
So, there's some people that contact every day. There's some lists that I've been on that the person sends me stuff every day. One, he sent me stuff 3 times a day every day. Now, he contacted me way too much. But, if the content is valuable, then people don't mind getting messaging from you frequently. But if the content is more fluff, a lot of times, you can contact them once a week and they'll still feel like you're contacting them way too much.
Right. So with that in mind, if someone's starting a marketing automation program, what skill sets do they need to put on their team in order to make sure the marketing automation is productive?
First, foremost, content writers, good content writers. If you don't have them in-house, it is worth your while to get a staff that's their wheelhouse. Second would be, I would say, your strategy team, your marketing strategy team, tied in with your analytic team. The truth is in the numbers. So having that on board is very important. And I may be talking, high level as far as with companies that have departments that specialize in that. Mm-hmm. If you're a smaller company and it's just a handful of people, you may have to have multiple hats or outsource some of that. But you should definitely have content first. You should have a strategy team with the analytics team to assist that content team. The technical aspect, a technical team will be nice, but a lot of these solution providers have pretty good tech support. So they'll walk you through that. And a lot of them is included in your subscription. A lot of people don't even utilize it, but it's included. The key word to look for is managed. If they offer managed solution, they'll actually do a lot of the technical aspects for you. If they're not managed, some of them will, provide that for an additional fee. But in my opinion, it's really good to have somebody that works with it every day to help you with the technical aspect than a guy that's just good at some sort of, he's good at web design, development, IT, try to figure it out. Yep. Because he or she will spend a lot of hours trying to figure it out where they know exactly where to go.
So our dream team consists of a content person, a marketing strategist for brand positioning, offer development, an analytics person, and potentially, depending on your situation, a technical person for implementation. That's the marketing automation dream team to put together.
Possibly a graphics person too. But.
Yeah, possibly a graphic person. I kind of put graphics and content. A lot of content teams actually, partner with a graphic designer to make the layouts. But yes, if you don't have that in your content team, you're right. A graphics guy or girl would be great for that.
Yeah. Well, did you want to add to that? Because I had a question for him. Let's talk about it. And I see this quite often where some e-commerce sites really miss the boat, and you know, they'll put up an autoresponder when somebody makes a purchase or that type of thing, but they won't nurture that customer. You know, instead of just sending them one email after the purchase, follow up with another email, 30, 60, 90, you know, those type of emails, just to keep you in their mind type of thing.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you're spot on with that. And here's why. A lot of times when a person purchases, they are in the bliss of the purchase.
Right.
And they may purchase again. So if you come back just saying thank you, that's fine. But you can actually make an offer that they may want to take advantage of as well, you know, to accommodate what they just purchased.
Exactly.
Because they're already, you know, happy to buy. They already trust you. They already like you. So all of the sales criteria have been checked off. So upselling them is a perfect time to upsell them. Second, if they're happy at that point, it's a perfect time for them to refer people to you.
Yep.
So asking for that referral is also another type of messaging to go out and ask for their review. This is the one challenge I've seen a lot of companies, especially in e-commerce. They don't ask for the review until like months later, and it's to everybody, you know. And so whoever bought in the past 7 days is relevant, but whoever bought it 30 days ago, it's not relevant. And so getting that, you know, I've seen different sellers on Amazon do that. Some sellers will come back the minute you get it in the mail. That next day, you get an email asking for a review, asking for feedback, and so on. Yeah. Others, you may get it 30 plus days later, and you forget what in the world you bought. You know, you're like, I don't remember buying that. Oh, yeah, I did buy that. But by that time, your opinion has very much changed. I mean, you probably forgot you even have the item you purchased.
You know, Robert, on your theory, I've got an interesting research project out there for anybody listening. Somebody who would want to test the recall of contents of thank you pages. Because I think it's one of the most read parts of any website. I think it's like the postscript in the old days of direct mail letters. Because you just did a transaction, there's a part of you that wants to know it got through. That it got through. So you're going to read it, and I think that people will have a higher attention level to those thank you pages than almost any other page they look at on the site.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're so right, Matt. I mean, honestly, information marketers do that very well. You go to a Frank Kearns or you go to any of those guys, you know, you get on that page, you might get 2 or 3 thank you pages. You know, you'll get one and thank you, and here's a free gift. And then the next thing you know, but if you like that, you might love this. And then next thing you know, you get to know. Now, some of them overdo it. So some, you know, I would not reach out more than twice myself. But each company is different. You know, your customers might not mind. And once again, I go back, as long as the content is very, very relevant, it won't be as offensive as if it's not. But information marketers do it very well. They'll upsell you to death.
Yeah, and I mean, especially in that confirmation email you get. I mean, you could say, okay, let's say they bought a pair of pants. You know, somewhere in that email you could say, persons that bought these pair of pants also bought this, or, you know, just kind of, there's your upsells.
The matching shirt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's nice belt.
Exactly. There's a company that I've worked with before called Foretel that does that wonderfully. They actually put like a JavaScript on your site, and if somebody purchased, you can automate the email and the website to say, if you like this, you'll like that, or you purchase this goes with it, and you know, as the company, you basically group everything together, or you may say people that have bought this, have also looked at that. And so Foretel does a very good job at that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's amazing what it does to the bottom line, just something like that. I mean, it's a lot of work to put together, but once it's in place, definitely a huge ROI.
Yeah. And with the retailers, not affiliated with Foretel or anything of that nature, but the great thing about Foretel is once you put the script on and you give them a database of your products, they'll do the heavy crunching for you.
Oh, nice.
And they'll group for you. And so then, after the learning, because it's an artificial intelligence. So after the learning, they'll group everything for you. The heavy part would be putting on the code, providing them a full list of everything that you have. And then on the back end, their solution does most of the rest. So it really makes it easy. Now, your first 30 days, you're not going to get as accurate of information. But after it learns for enough time, it's almost like Amazon.
Wow.
Amazon's the king of it.
What's the name? How do you spell it? F-O-R-E?
It's the number 4 and then T-E-L-L. Yes, the number 4 and then T-E-L-L.com. Yeah, Foretel.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I just want to look at it.
Oh yeah, definitely look it up. I mean, they do a outstanding job with it. And like I said, if you're in retail, it makes your emails very relevant. Also helps with cart abandonment. You can put it on a page and say, oh, you've looked at this. I notice you haven't decided to purchase. Was it because you like this or you like that? And so you're putting the script on different pages so you can see if they went to a different product page.
Right.
And so you might, if you're savvy, you might say, I notice you're comparing this and that, and go into your messaging to see if they are really ready to purchase or they just kind of doing some research at the time. And it really helps with that. I mean, here's the thing. You mentioned it earlier in the show about nurturing.
Mm-hmm.
The key is you want to nurture. You want to build that relationship. You want to communicate. A lot of people use automation to push market, like commercials. So it's all just talk, but you're not nurturing. Some of your automation should be to try to get feedback, to try to get a conversation started, to understand your customer more, and have them feel as if you truly care about them and their need, and you truly want to get to know them.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, companies, that's a hard thing to do because most corporations are cold, I guess you would say. So they are bottom line. It's all about numbers. They don't have it. Where mommy bloggers are great with nurturing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times when I go in and consult, I'll tell people all the time, don't get a technical writer, get a mommy blogger.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because a mommy blogger knows how to tie it in.
Yeah.
They do it great. I've read some emails from mommy bloggers that I knew I did not want to read, but it just caught my attention because they were saying something about they were going on some trip and the kids started acting a fool. They were down in Disney and they were, and I'm like, really? And they say,
you're
buy
way
my
out
course.
of the target audience and they still got your engagement.
Female demographic there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then they talk about watch the video and I go to the landing page and it's a course about how to be a leader or something like that. And I'm like, wow. They know how to build a relationship where most corporations send out emails and you can tell from the subject line, it's an ad. You can tell.
Yeah.
And so you never even read the content because you're like, oh, that's an ad. They're trying to sell me something.
Yeah, I think consumers have developed that radar now. They can sniff out sales better than maybe a year ago or 2 years ago, and they can sniff out stock photos, and they can sniff out things that aren't genuine now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yep. And that's the hardest thing. So as you're building your team and you have your content writer, technical writers, you can provide the technical information. You know your business. So if it's too technical, unless your audience would be, I would say, more of a B2B audience, having that technical writer makes it difficult. Now, B2B is a little different because you're dealing business to business. So you don't need to have that warm, fuzzy feeling.
Yeah.
They just want to know the facts, So that might work for them. But even with that, knowing your audience and knowing what makes them tick really helps when you're developing that content to nurture. And then you can start seeing what you need to do to reach them. There's some software. There's some solutions out there that help by looking at your competition, and they look at your competition and what your competition is doing, what they're putting out, and you can look at that and see what's effective.
Tell us about those. Give us an example of that.
Well, before you get into that, we have to take a sponsor break. We have to take a break for our sponsor. I'm sorry. 1 second.
Find the true value of your home when you log on. HomeValue.com.
Search Talk Live is sponsored by the Robert Palmer family of companies. Check out robertpalmercompanies.com for more information.
Those of you just tuning in, we are talking with Jeff Beale, internet marketing expert. And if you have questions, you can go on Twitter and type in hashtag Search Talk Live and ask your questions while we are live on the air. We will try and answer those for you. I'm sorry, Jeff. Go back to what you were saying.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Got to get those sponsor breaks in. But you can look at your competitors. There is a solution out there called Compete. It's spelled with a K. Let me spell it for you. It's actually KOMPYTE.com.
Mm-hmm.
And they track what your competitors are doing, changes they made, articles they've written, posts they put up, how many people like it, who likes it, how many people share it. So you get to know what works for your competitors. And you can make some strategic moves based on that. It also tracks what you're doing as well, but that insight really helps you with your automation because you can start seeing, okay, well, if they send out these series of posts, this is where it fell off for them. And if they're sending out this series of emails or going to these particular pages, this is what we've seen happen when they went that way. They've optimized for these keywords. They're doing ads based on this. They even show you, here's the ads that they put out on display. That type of information helps you with your decisions. So you can start saying, okay, if we are reaching the same audience, this works, this doesn't. So if they have a more warm approach, we probably should have a more warm approach. If they are just, one graphic and a few words, then maybe we should look at doing that because it seems to be working because they're getting response from it. So having that insight helps you with making the decision on how you want to automate.
Oh, yeah.
But the real way to master automation is to test, fail, tweak, and retest. And, test on small subsets.
Repeat, rinse and repeat. Yeah.
Exactly. And test on small. Can I get the drum roll? Test on small subsets. Don't send it to everybody because if it doesn't work, you're going to piss off everybody. Test on a small subset, see if it works. If it works, you can then increase the amount of people that you go out to.
And what was the name of that tool again?
It's called Compete. I want to say, I know they're going to kill me because it might be Compite, but I think it's Compete. It's KOMPYTE.
Okay.
It sounds like it goes further than the Facebook Insights do. You know, Facebook Insights let you track a little bit of the competitor activity, but it sounds like not only does this go further, but it allows you to kind of create a compendium of not just your Facebook their Facebook activity, but their Twitter activity and other activity.
Yes.
That saves a lot of manual labor.
Yeah, also their ad displays, and so you get a real good insight of what they're doing.
Wow, I'm anxious to try that.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Yeah. Pierre has done a great job over there, and they're doing a lot of good things.
I'm glad I came to today's show.
Me too.
Well, y'all had to be on the show,
right? You got another question?
Yeah, Jeff, we got to go back just a little bit to the tool and I personally, being somebody who tries to keep up to date with all the things that all these tools do, and they're always evolving, and to have somebody like you being able to talk to us, and you've got your hands on so many, how do you think that the tools differ if they're being purchased by someone in the audience who's servicing a bunch of clients from an agency perspective versus someone who's in the audience who's just running the marketing department for an individual company? Is there any attribute or a particular functionality that you see in the tools that would help either one of those folks?
Yes.
Good question.
So some tools are more robust than others. So if you're like a novice or a small team, you don't need all those big features. And some tools have way too many features for your needs. You need something simplified. Because here's the thing. We all love toys. We all love to play. And the more features they have, the more you play around and less you get done. Because you're always saying, oh, that's nice. Let's try to see how we can work that in. Now, that's, again, you're thinking about the features and not your audience. You're saying, well, they can do this, so let's see how we can do it because the tool offers it. And you may not need that. So, like an agency, especially if they're working on several clients and so forth, they may need a solution that provides so many different options. So no matter which one of their clients they use, they can provide telephony, or they can provide social, or they can provide email. They can provide all these different things based on their client list. Where a smaller business that just needs to send out email may need something very simplistic. Also, you want to look at what are their strong suits. Each one of these tools have a strong suit. And so if you need your audience responds more to social, you need a tool that has stronger social communication and tracking than you do one that may have email. And same for email versus social. So, it goes back to what we talked about before of you understanding your audience and you knowing your strategy, developing that workflow, and then going out and getting the tool. Yeah. Because I've worked with companies that have gone and spent a lot of money on some of these bigger brand tools, and I won't name them, but they are great brands. And they come to me and ask, well, we got this brand. What do you think? And I'm like, that's a great brand. And so in one case, these are one of the leaders when it comes to marketing automation, especially when it comes to content. But in order for it to work, you have to have a repository of content that's massive. And this company has no articles, hasn't written any articles. And I'm like, you can't, you're basically utilizing the CRM. That's it. Because the rest of the tool you can't utilize because you don't have any white papers, you don't have any articles, you don't have any videos, you don't have anything. And they ask, well, how many do we need? About 5, 10? No, like 100, 500, that type of content to make this work,
Their eyes turn like saucers.
It's just understanding that. Yeah, it's just understanding that. And once you understand that, then you put it into a list and say, these are the most important factors that we need. And my thing is, don't be afraid to pick up the phone and have them walk you through a use case. not just a demo, not a demo. A lot of companies just go through the demo. No, you want to have them walk you through a use case and walk you through what your workflow would look like. So you come to them, you've already done the workflow. That's the key. You've done the workflow already. You've already mapped it out and say, okay, we have this website. We want to communicate in this way. This is what our customer looks like. This is the type of path we want them to go down. Can you walk us through how we can do that with your solution?
That's really great advice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I think you're exactly right. What most people do. They fill out the form on the Marketing Automation Tools website, sign me up for a demo, and they go through a pre-scripted demo that the automation tool wants them to go by. If you ask them for a user case, I think that's really smart. That's a great piece of advice. And Jeff, we're watching email service providers like MailChimp just blow out their automation functionality. Are we going to see a day when an ESP like MailChimp eclipses one of the automation tools that we know about? Can I do everything that I want to do with MailChimp?
Yes and no. I would say no, they will not eclipse marketing automation solutions. But yes, you will see a lot of small businesses and simplified plans utilize MailChimp or companies like that, ESPs like that, because for what they need, that solution can provide. Right. So if they're just sending out an autoresponder series, Aweber, MailChimp, they can do that. If they are finding small triggers like, okay, they actually clicked the email and went to this landing page, then yes, they can do that. But when you're talking about a more robust solution like a cart abandonment, you're talking about understanding geolocation tracking and automation, I don't see them getting into that space.
Yeah, I don't either.
So for the larger companies, I don't see them being a viable solution.
Yeah, definitely. Now, really, if you want to get robust, you need to use tools like you were talking about earlier, Foretell, those type of things, right?
Yeah, yes. If that fits within your audience path, yes. But I say this, don't get it just because they can do it. Get it because you actually need it. A lot of the larger companies, enterprise companies I've consulted with, they get it because it can. They look at this. It's funny. It's like the exact opposite of small business. They look at it because it has this laundry list of features and a high price point. So let's get it because it must do something great.
Yeah, and they think that there's something in the future that they're going to do.
Exactly. And then when they get it, then they get overwhelmed and they can't find any way to implement anything that they want to do. So now they get frustrated and they have to go out and get a consultant to kind of make it make sense, which I love because it keeps food on the table.
I think your description is great. I think if you went to Wikipedia and if you could find picture of an ordinary marketing automation execution for an average company, it would be a picture of what you just described, word for word, exactly. They buy a tool that is over their heads. They get frustrated with it. They don't get an ROI, and then they move on to other things where they're already getting proven performance, and they continue the investment into those tools, some of which are pretty substantial.
Sounds like paid versus SEO.
Oh, that's a whole great another discussion right there. Right. But yes, you're completely right. I mean, and so they get locked into these subscriptions, and they just continue to pay but never use it. Or if they are using it, they're using it just to broadcast emails. And it's like, well, if you're just going to broadcast emails, use MailChimp.
Right. Pay your $29.95 to MailChimp and pay it, right?
Yeah. So, but a lot of them, like I said, they don't go in with a plan yet. They don't go in and say, this is our actual strategy. What they do is they say, here's the tools, here's what it can do. So since it has telephony with it, we need to figure out how we can SMS people. Mm-hmm. We need to figure out how we can auto dial people. Well, your customers, honestly, if I get a website that calls me on the phone, I'm not even answering it. I'm just going to block it. I'm like, what? Why is this website calling me? So it's not going to be effective, but you're going to use it because, well, they offer it.
Yeah.
And so, I think that, larger companies, that's where they struggle. Smaller companies, they struggle with the fact that they get a tool and then they don't realize that you still have to put in some work. They kind of say, well, we have MailChimp, so we want to send out some emails. Well, you have to have a content team write your emails. Oh, MailChimp doesn't do that? Nope. Nope. They don't write it for you. You still have to have a team. So now you're paying your $30 a month, and you're sitting around wondering who's going to write it.
Yeah.
And now that takes 3 months to figure out who's going to write it. So, have everything in place before you do. A lot of them have trials, but they know the reason they're comfortable giving you a trial is because they know 9 times out of 10, you don't have a plan in place, and you're not going to be able to have a plan in place in that short trial period. And you'll end up paying for it because now you've gotten just used to using it, or used to not using it, but looking at it, logging in, looking at what it offers. And now you don't want to switch because you've already made that commitment, and you don't want to go through that buying process again.
Right.
Absolutely. You had something else?
All right, Jeff, you're going to be our first participant in a new feature here at Search Talk Live. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. It is called Believe It or Leave It. And we're going to give you some statements in the field of marketing automation, and you're going to tell our audience whether they should believe it or leave it, and give them one sentence or two as to why you feel that way. You ready?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
All right. Believe it or leave it. Number 1, Microsoft is going to launch a marketing automation product that integrates with LinkedIn and Outlook.
Believe it. I can see them doing that.
They own LinkedIn now, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do, and I can see them being the giant that they are, and LinkedIn having such a big resource of professionals, which is really their core market. I can see them looking at how can we get a piece of that pie.
Okay.
I just that's a big pie to not try to get a piece of.
All right, Jeff says believe it on that one. Here's believe it or leave it number 2. Ready, Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
Marketing automation as a channel will eclipse paid search for ROI for the average SMB in 2017.
Leave it, even though I want to preach marketing automation. Nah.
It'd be good for his business.
You're still going to have to pay.
What's holding them back?
You're still going to have to pay.
All right, our last one. Believe it or leave it, Jeff. Google will launch a marketing automation tool that produces customized videos based on what the user has expressed an interest in previously.
I say believe it. Since you didn't put a date on it, believe it. Yeah.
2040-ish.
YouTube is already doing that somewhat.
Yeah.
So, you're already getting in your inbox some recommended videos to watch, and all depending on which profile you log in when you log online, you're starting to get that, and now you're even starting to get notifications with this with a YouTube Red with things you might like on your phone. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I can see them doing that.
I can too, because if you've looked at the AdWords ad builder, which is a pretty impressive tool in AdWords, right? We're not too far away from Google giving you the ability to say, okay, we're going to create a video on the fly, and person's interested in remote controlled cars, and they looked at a red one, and the next thing you know, I'm getting a video about the benefits of a remote controlled car, and it features the one that I looked at. That can't be that far off.
No.
Yeah, and you're looking at too now that they're integrating this broadcaster network. They're having user generated shows, interactive shows, and so forth. Mm-hmm. So they're really getting into let's provide them rich media based on some of their behaviors. So I can see that probably by 2020, but I can see it coming.
Okay. So how does this work? Do you give the correct answers?
No, that's it. That's it. We just get the expert's take.
Okay, I got you.
Get the expert's take on what's going on. Great job.
No money, no trip.
That's right. You don't even get to see what's behind door number 2. Yeah. Nicely done, Jeff.
All right. So what do we got? 6 minutes left in the show before we say goodbye. But let's see. What else we want to talk about here?
Jeff's got an interesting acronym that he uses, I think in his new book, and it might be in his presentation, LUCK, L-U-C-K. He's got a different take on it. Jeff, can you tell us what that is?
Oh, yeah. Well,
you have to buy the book.
It's like, what? Wait a minute, hold on. I put that out. Actually, it's funny that you called me on that, because I kind of put that out and forgot about it. I was doing more of the 4 C's than anything, which was content, contacts, communication, and consistency. And then one morning I woke up and was like, look, and I put it out, and then I forgot about it. So I apologize to everybody, because it just was a thought. Mm-hmm. And I put it out on social and then just forgot about it. Wow. So I had to look on my own social to see exactly what that meant again.
Matt was doing his research, obviously.
I know. And sometimes when you get those little ideas, those aha moments, it's like, oh, let me put that out on social. That was a good one.
Yeah.
And I kind of forgot all about it. So Matt called me. That's what. Do y'all have the sound effects? Womp, 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 womp.
We got to get more sound effects. We do have the clap. That's it.
Jeff, I'm getting a really good sense of how you help folks, but I'm just kind of interested when you engage with somebody for the first time. It sounds like you're the very first step you walk them through is, man, we got to get a plan. Am I right on that? Is that the first thing that's missing?
Yeah, you're spot on. The first thing I do is I let them know that it's going to be some work, and that we need to truly understand your audience. We need to know exactly what they look like, exactly what they need, what triggers their action, and what do you offer that truly benefits them. And once we do that, then we move into, let's develop a plan, let's develop a strategy, and then we start going into the whole bells and whistles and toys, and let's get this tool, let's get that tool, and so forth.
I think that's one of our biggest takeaways of the show. Yeah. In my experience with helping folks on marketing automation, it's spend the time on the front side. Yeah. Get the plan down, get the workflow plan. Don't even look at a marketing automation tool's website until you feel like you have got that down, because you'll be so confused and so frustrated trying to decipher what all these new things are that each one of these tools do. And they all use their own language and jargon, but get the plan down, and that'll make it much easier.
Yeah, and one thing that amazes me, too, is how many companies really don't know their customer.
Oh, man, that's big.
Or they think they know their customer, and they're way off base.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because you know who they rely on? They rely on the boss who sees the world the way that he wants to see it, which is not the way that consumers see it. Yeah. I think the worst person, and you'll have to tell me if you have the same experience, the worst person to ask who the target customer is the owner of the company.
In most cases,
it's the person that's most removed, who has the most idealistic view of who they are, which may not be mirrored in reality.
Yeah.
Well, I usually tell my clients, you are not your customer, and I tell myself that as well. You are not your customer, because the majority of the time you are not. The majority of the time you know way too much about the product or service. You know way too much of things that others would not take for granted, and at the same sense, the majority of the time you don't even buy from yourself. I mean, think about how many of these companies, they don't shop where they work. They don't buy from themselves. So how can you be in the mind of a consumer when you're not going to consume what you offer? So, once you get that out your head, it makes it a little easier to be open-minded to what others are focused on versus you're focused on, I am the best. I offer the best product or service at the best price, and you should buy from me.
There you go.
Yeah, I know you and I believe that every website should have a search box functionality in it, regardless of what you sell, because that's the direct line to how people talk and how they communicate. I think when you show that data to customers, they're always amazed that people use the particular arrangement of words or a particular way of expressing things that just totally came out of left field for them. But that's how you get that information. Give people the chance to say it right in that search box, and that's how they want to find it.
Yeah, and that's how we covered that on the last show.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a lot of good stuff, man. So let's end the show on some actionable items. What would you say if someone wants to get started in automation? Where should they go first? Mr.
I would say the first thing that well, yeah, I mean, if you would like, that would be great. But I would say the first thing would be to go to your customers first. And I'm not saying reach out to them and ask them questions. I'm saying look at your current customer list, get with your team, especially your analytics department, and walk down with your customers, how they purchase from you, why they purchase from you, what are some common factors, what would the ideal customer look like? And then after you do that, then start saying, what are some of these behaviors?
Yeah.
And out of these behaviors, what are the triggers? What path do we want to take them down? What's our end result that we want them to do? And then you get to how do we make that happen?
Yeah. And you could probably use something like a Survey Monkey too, right? To like survey your clients and stuff.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Survey Monkey, even Facebook.
Yeah.
Hold them on Facebook. Yeah.
Jeff, it has been a real pleasure. We have already ran into an hour almost here, and I want to thank you for being on the show. If someone wants to reach you, how can they get a hold of you on Twitter?
They can get a hold of me on Twitter at MrMarketology. It's MrMarketology. And they can contact me on all of the platforms with the same handle, Mr. Marketology.
That makes it easy. Thanks again, man. It's been a real pleasure. Those of you that are just catching the last part of the show, I will be tweeting it out in the next 5 minutes here. You can catch up on the episode if you missed it. And thank you so much for being on the show.
Great talking to you, Jeff.
Hey, yeah. Thanks, guys, for having me on the show. It was a pleasure. Matt, I'm going to research what I said about luck. I'm looking at it right now, trying to find out what in the world did I say. So, thanks for keeping me honest.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. All right, guys. That's been another episode of Search Talk Live. I want y'all to come back next week. We have an interview with expert international SEO Dawn Anderson, and she is on the other side of the pond in the UK. Coming to Search Talk Live to share her knowledge. We're big in the UK for some reason. I don't know why. But Matt, did you want to add anything to the show?
No, I'm looking forward to that one. Particularly if she can help us a little bit with international search and for people who want to rank in different countries and compete outside the United States. She's going to be a great resource.
Oh, absolutely. Guys, go to the website, sign up for our newsletter, or go to Spreaker. If you're listening to us on Spreaker, please hit that like button. Show people that it's a good episode, and tune in next week. Thanks again, guys.
See you then.
Find the true value of your home when you log on. HomeValue.com.
Search Talk Live is sponsored by the Robert Palmer family of companies. Check out robertpalmercompanies.com for more information.